Jiho sat alone in his ship, drifting near the edge of a quiet star system. His small vessel, the Silver Echo, wasn't fast or strong, but it was his. After 5 years working in deep space salvage, Jiho had learned to enjoy the silence of space. No traffic, no noise, just stars, dust, and broken things waiting to be collected. He leaned back in the pilot's chair, sipping lukewarm coffee from a metal cup. His screen showed no signs of other ships. The system was empty, just like always. This was why he came here, a quiet place to think and rest between jobs. But today, something was different. He first noticed her 3 days ago. A strange shape, outside the ship. Not on the sensors, not on radar, just floating out there. At first, Jiho thought it was a suit, maybe a body left from a wreck. That happens sometimes. But when he looked through the window, he saw a pair of glowing golden eyes staring back at him, not human eyes. They blinked, slowly, and then the figure was gone. Jiho had checked all systems. No breaches, no damage, no sign of any life form nearby. He told himself it was a dream. Maybe he had been too tired, or the coffee was finally going bad. But then, the next day, she was there again, and again, always floating outside his ship, never knocking, never moving, just watching. Now, on the third day, Jiho saw her again. He didn't even flinch this time. He just stared back, heart beating a little faster. She looked like a woman, but not quite. Her skin was dark gray, like stone or metal. Her face was sharp, her long hair floating gently around her. But the biggest thing Jiho noticed were the ears. Long, furred, and pointed, like a wolf or a wild cat. She wasn't wearing a suit, just some kind of strange armor, leather and bone. And somehow she could survive out there, in space, without protection. Jiho whispered to himself, "What the hell are you?" The creature tilted her head as if she had heard him. That made him freeze. Jiho backed away from the window. He grabbed his small plasma pistol, not that it would do much good in a real fight, and went to the control panel. "Scan the area," he ordered. The ship's AI, named Hana. "No life forms detected," Hana replied. Her voice was soft and calm. "Sensors show no biological presence." Jiho frowned. "Then what am I seeing?" "There is nothing out there, Jiho." He slowly walked back to the window. She was gone again. Later that night, Jiho couldn't sleep. He lay in the bunk, staring at the ceiling. He had locked all doors, set up extra motion sensors, even placed emergency shields on the airlocks. He still couldn't shake that feeling, the one where someone is watching you. It was worse now. She wasn't just scary. She was strange, curious. She didn't try to hurt him. She just stared, like she was trying to understand him, or maybe waiting for something. "Is she real?" Jiho whispered into the dark. Hana replied softly from the wall speaker. "You have asked this question 4 times today. There is no confirmed data." Jiho sighed and turned on his side. The next morning he decided to do something different. He made breakfast, eggs and rice, nothing fancy, and walked to the main airlock. He opened the inside hatch but kept the outer one closed. Then, slowly, carefully, he placed a sealed box of food into the small airlock chamber. "If you're real," he said out loud, "maybe you're hungry." He closed the inside door and stepped back. He watched from the window nearby. For a few minutes, nothing happened. Then, movement. The strange woman appeared again. Slowly, silently, she floated into view, her golden eyes fixed on the ship. Then she reached out, placed a clawed hand on the outer glass of the airlock and tilted her head again. She didn't take the food. She didn't leave. She just stared. Jiho felt a chill run through him. This wasn't some wild beast. She understood what he was doing. She was choosing not to respond. "Do you want to come in?" he asked, knowing she couldn't hear, or maybe she could. She pressed her hand harder on the glass. A deep hum filled the air around the airlock. Jiho heard it through the walls, like a vibration from far away. The lights flickered. Hana made a warning beep. Unusual energy detected, she said. Power drain near airlock system. Jiho moved to the control panel and hit the emergency lockout. The woman vanished instantly. Gone, like she was never there. Later that day, Jiho sat in the engine room trying to calm his nerves. He looked at an old photo stuck to the wall. His family, back on Earth. His sister, Yuna, always said space would drive him crazy one day. Maybe she was right. Jiho spoke into his recorder. Day 57 in this system. Salvage work is slow. No new wrecks. No signs of pirate activity, but I keep seeing a woman outside the ship. Beast-like. She appears without warning. Doesn't attack. Just watches. The AI doesn't detect her. I'm not sure what she wants. He paused, then added, I think I'm going to try talking to her tomorrow, directly. That night, Jiho dreamed of her. She was inside the ship, walking slowly through the halls. Her feet made no sound. Her golden eyes glowed in the dark. But in the dream, he wasn't afraid. She didn't hurt him. She just looked at him and said one word. Human. Then he woke up. His heart was racing. His skin was cold. The lights were on. His ship was quiet. But there on the window was a handprint. It wasn't his. And it was still warm. Jiho couldn't stop thinking about the handprint. He had scanned it carefully. The print was bigger than his. Clawed. The fingers were longer. The shape was inhuman. But it had heat. It had real heat. It wasn't a dream. It wasn't in his head. She had been there. She had touched the ship. Any sign of a breach? He asked, pacing in front of the control panel. Negative, Hana replied. All systems normal. No entry detected. No oxygen loss. Then how did she leave a handprint inside the window? Silence. Jiho tapped the metal wall. Forget it, you don't know. He didn't know either. But now, he was sure, the Beastwoman was real. She wasn't just a ghost or a hallucination. And she was trying to say something. He had to find out. What? That afternoon, Jiho sat in the workshop area of the ship going over old tech. He had a few spare drones, tiny floating machines with cameras and simple AI. Usually he used them to explore wrecks or check dangerous spots in space. But today he had another plan. He spent 2 hours modifying one of the drones. He added a speaker and an old translator chip he found in storage. It wasn't perfect, it only supported a few known alien languages, but maybe it would help. He also gave it a simple message to play. If you can hear this, Jiho recorded, I want to talk. I am not your enemy. I don't want to hurt you. Please show me who you are. He launched the drone just before sunset, based on the local star's rotation. The ship floated quietly above a dead rocky moon, no other signs of life. The drone drifted outside, its camera spinning slowly. Jiho watched from the control room. Nothing happened for 10 minutes. Then, just like before, she appeared. From the dark side of the moon, her figure moved like a shadow, silent, graceful, her golden eyes glowing in the black. The drone moved toward her. It played the message. She didn't run. She didn't vanish. Instead, for the first time, she moved closer. She reached out, slowly, and touched the drone. The machine shook. Its lights flickered. Jiho leaned forward, heart pounding. Then, the drone's camera sent back something unexpected. Writing. She had carved a mark into the metal shell with her claw. It looked like a symbol. A swirl, with lines running through it like waves or wind. Then she turned and disappeared again. Jiho brought the drone back inside. He stared at the mark for a long time. It wasn't a word from any known alien language. It wasn't military code or pirate sign either. It looked personal. He ran it through the translation system. Nothing came up. What do you think it means? He asked aloud. No match in database, Hana replied. I figured. But she answered, Hana, that's progress. Jiho smiled for the first time in days. That night, he dreamed again. He was floating in space, no suit, no helmet. Somehow he could breathe. Stars stretched all around him like silver dust. Then she was there, the Beastwoman, her body made of shadows and fur and light. She placed a hand on his chest. You are loud, she said. Her voice was like wind through dry trees. But not dangerous. Jiho woke with a gasp. The next morning, Jiho was ready to take a bigger step. He painted the same swirl symbol on the outside of his ship using a maintenance arm. It took 2 hours to get the size and shape right. He hoped she would see it and understand. Then, he waited, and waited. Hours passed. No sign of her. He started to wonder if he had scared her away. Maybe reaching out had been too much. Maybe she thought it was a trick. But as the stars brightened and the cold darkness of space deepened, Jiho saw movement again. This time she didn't just float near the ship. She landed on it. His sensors lit up, alerting him to a light pressure on the top hull. No airlocks triggered, no alarms, just weight, her weight. He ran to the viewing dome near the top level of the ship. He peered out through the reinforced glass. She was standing on the ship's outer surface, her feet somehow holding on despite the lack of gravity. Her long, dark hair floated like a cloud behind her, and in her hands was something strange. Small glowing orb. She held it up. Jiho stared, unsure what to do. Then the orb floated on its own. It drifted toward the viewing dome. Jiho stepped back. It passed through the glass. His mouth dropped open. No damage, no cracking. It was like the orb didn't care about matter. The glowing object hovered in the air, then opened like a flower. Soft voice spoke from inside. You seek meaning. So do I. It wasn't her voice, it was different, older, more even. But the message was clear. Jiho nodded slowly. Yes, he whispered. I want to understand. The orb spoke again. Words are weak, but you are not. Then it closed and vanished into dust. Jiho ran back to the window. She was gone. That night, Jiho sat in his cabin, thinking about what had just happened. Words are weak, he repeated. But you are not. He couldn't stop thinking about. Tariq, was that praise? A warning? A hint? He looked back at the swirl symbol. Maybe it wasn't just a message. Maybe it was her name. Or her people. Or her purpose. He opened his log. Day 58. I made contact. Real contact. The Beastwoman. She sent a message. Not words, not voice, but something more. An orb. It spoke to me. She's not here to attack. I think she's studying me. Or testing me. And I think I passed the first test. He stopped recording. Then whispered to the air. I'm ready for the next one. But outside the ship, deep in the shadow of the moon, something else watched. Not her. Something bigger. Something colder. And it did not want peace. Jiho woke up suddenly. The ship's alarm was ringing softly. It wasn't loud or urgent, but it was enough to pull him from sleep. He rubbed his eyes and looked at the screen. Power drain detected near the hull. Hana said quietly. Jiho got out of bed fast. He moved to the control room, heart beating hard. Show me, he said. The screen showed the outside view of the ship. Near the moon's dark side, a shadow moved fast. It was not the Beastwoman. This was something else. A large black shape. Like a shadow, but solid. It moved with purpose. Jiho grabbed his plasma pistol and went to the airlock controls. Seal all external doors. Activate defense shields, he ordered Hana. Shields activated. External doors locked. He stared at the screen, waiting. The shadow stopped near the ship. It looked around, as if searching. Then it vanished. Jiho frowned. What was that? No data, Hana said. No known species match. Jiho thought hard. We are not alone here. Hours passed without any sign of the shadow. Jiho tried to keep calm. He sat down, looking at the swirl symbol on the hull. The Beastwoman had not come back since the orb appeared. He missed her presence, strange as it was. Maybe she was scared by the shadow, or maybe she was waiting. Suddenly, the ship shook. The lights flickered. Jiho grabbed the wall for support. "What was that?" he asked. "Minor impact detected," Hana replied. Jiho ran to the viewing dome. Outside, near the ship's back, he saw the Beastwoman. She was on the hull again, holding something in her hands. This time it was different. It was a small stone, glowing faintly blue. She looked at Jiho with her golden eyes. For a moment, Jiho thought she was trying to tell him something. He spoke softly. "What is that?" She did not answer. Instead, she placed the glowing stone on the ship's hull. The ship reacted. The blue light spread slowly from the stone. Jiho watched as the lights on the hull changed colors. It felt like the ship was alive. The stone's light grew brighter and then faded away. The ship's system stabilized. Hana said, "Power levels restored. Unknown energy source detected." Jiho smiled. The Beastwoman was helping. That night, Jiho dreamed again. This time, the dream was clearer. He was in a strange forest, under a sky full of stars. The Beastwoman was there. She spoke in a language Jiho did not understand, but somehow he knew what she meant. She showed him memories of a war long ago, of her people, a tribe called the Kirot. They were hunters and protectors. They could live in space without suits. But they had enemies, a dark force called the Vraks. The shadow Jiho saw was a Vrak scout. She warned him. Jiho woke up with a start. He knew now why. She kept coming. She wanted to protect him, and maybe to ask for help. The next morning, Jiho prepared for a long talk. He wrote words on a tablet and showed them to the window. "Who are you? Why do you watch me? Do you need help?" He waited. Hours passed. The Beastwoman appeared. She pressed her hand on the glass, then drew another symbol. This time it looked like a shield. Jiho copied the symbol and nodded. "I understand. You protect." She blinked slowly. Then she touched the glass gently and vanished. Days went by. Jiho learned to recognize more symbols. The Beastwoman's visits became less mysterious. Sometimes she brought gifts, strange stones, plants from unknown planets, pieces of old technology. Jiho kept them all carefully. He felt less alone. One day, while Jiho was repairing a damaged drone, the ship shook hard. This time it was no accident. "Warning, external attack detected," Hana said loudly. Jiho ran to the controls. Outside, dark ships appeared near the moon. They were Vrax fighters. Their design was sharp and cruel. They fired at the Silver Echo. Jiho moved quickly. He raised the defense, shields, and fired back with plasma bursts. The fight was short but intense. Jiho's ship was damaged, but the attackers retreated. After the attack, Jiho looked at the hull. The swirl symbol was cracked. The shield symbol was scratched. His heart sank. But then he saw a new mark. It was the Beastwoman's claw print, clear and strong. She had fought for him. Jiho whispered, "Thank you." He felt a deep bond growing. That night, Jiho and Hana prepared for the next step. They repaired the ship's weapons and shields. Jiho sent a new message with the drone. "Tell her I am ready to help." Outside, in the shadow of the moon, the Beastwoman watched, her eyes burned with determination. The war was coming, but she was not alone, and neither was Jiho. The silence in the ship was heavy. Jiho sat at the control panel, staring at the star map. Red dots blinked in the distance, Vrax warships moving closer. He rubbed his tired eyes and thought of the Beastwoman. She had not come for 2 days. He worried about her. Suddenly, a soft knock came from the airlock door. Jiho jumped. His hand went to his pistol. "Wait," he said slowly. The door hissed and unlocked. Standing there was the Beastwoman, but she looked different. Her eyes were tired. Her fur matted and her armor cracked. She was injured. Jiho didn't hesitate. "Come inside," he said. She stepped in carefully, her movements slow but steady. The ship's air system adjusted automatically. The Beastwoman breathed deeply. Jiho helped her to a chair. He checked her wounds with the small med kit he carried. They were deep cuts and bruises, likely from the recent attack. Jiho cleaned the wounds gently. She watched him without saying a word. Her golden eyes held something, trust. For the first time Jiho spoke softly, "Who did this to you?" She blinked slowly, then drew a symbol on the glass. It was the symbol of the Vraks. Jiho understood. "They attacked you." She nodded. Jiho felt a surge of anger. He clenched his fists. "No one hurts my friend." The Beastwoman looked at him, with a small, sharp smile. Days passed. Jiho cared for her wounds. In return, she showed him how to use the strange stones she had brought before. One glowed blue and healed his cuts quickly. Another stone created a shield bubble around the ship's control panel. Jiho was amazed. Her knowledge was old and powerful. More than that, it was from a forgotten time. She explained without words that her people, the Kiro, had once been strong. They could control energy in ways humans did not understand. But the war with the Vraks had broken their power. Only a few remained. The Beastwoman was one of the last. Jiho felt honored. He was not alone anymore. He had a friend, and maybe an ally. One evening, the Beastwoman stood by the window. She pointed at the stars and then to Jiho. Her eyes told a story. She wanted to take the fight to the Vraks. She wanted Jiho to help her. Jiho felt nervous. He was just a small salvage pilot. How could he fight an army? But then he remembered the stones and her trust. He nodded slowly. "We will fight together." Jiho and the Beastwoman worked all night. They repaired the ship's weapons. She showed him how to use the blue healing stones on his armor. Jiho prepared the drones for battle. The ship was ready. At dawn, they left the quiet moon behind. The stars were bright, but danger was close. Days later, they reached the Vraks fleet. Hundreds of ships. Cold, dark, and dangerous. Jiho's heart pounded. The Beastwoman stood beside him, calm and fierce. She held a glowing stone tightly. Her eyes burned with determination. The battle began. The Vraks ships fired first. Jiho dodged plasma bolts. The ship shook from impacts. He fired back. Using new skills the Beastwoman taught him. The blue stones on the ship glowed, absorbing damage. Jiho felt a new strength. Beside him, the Beastwoman leapt through space, invisible to the Vraks' sensors. She struck fast, breaking enemy shields. Her claws were deadly. Her presence inspired Jiho. They were a team. During the fight, one Vrak ship broke through the defenses. It headed straight for Jiho's ship. Jiho froze. But the Beastwoman was faster. She caught the ship with a glowing net of energy. The enemy crashed into a nearby asteroid. Jiho smiled. "Thank you." She nodded but did not speak. After hours of battle, the Vraks retreated. Jiho and the Beastwoman watched from the quiet space. The ship was damaged, but they survived. Jiho felt pride. He was not just a pilot anymore. He was a warrior. Later, the Beastwoman placed a claw on Jiho's shoulder. For the first time, she spoke. "Thank you, human." Her voice was low and soft. Jiho smiled. "You saved me too." They looked at the stars together. A new alliance was born. But deep in the dark, the Vrak's leader watched, his eyes cold and sharp. He whispered, "The human must die." Jiho and the Beastwoman stood side by side on the bridge of the Silver Echo. The stars outside were cold and distant, but their eyes burned with hope and fire. The Vraks were coming back. This time, they would not run. Jiho checked the ship's systems. The blue stones the Beastwoman had brought hummed softly in their places, glowing like tiny stars. He turned to her. "Are you ready?" She nodded. Her golden eyes glowed with quiet strength. "I am." The warning sirens blared suddenly. Hana's Voice was calm but tense. Multiple Vrak ships detected, approaching fast. Jiho took a deep breath. This was it. The silver echo shook as the first blasts hit its shields. Jiho fired back, sending plasma bolts at the attackers. The Beastwoman moved like a shadow, slipping through the darkness outside, striking at enemy ships with her glowing claws and energy stones. Her presence was a beacon of power. Together they fought. The battle lasted for hours. The Vraks were strong and merciless. Their numbers were large. But Jiho and the Beastwoman did not give up. Jiho piloted with skill and courage. He dodged enemy fire, protecting the ship and his new friend. The Beastwoman destroyed enemy fighters, her claws cutting through metal and energy. Suddenly, a large Vrak's battleship appeared. It was bigger and stronger than the others. Its weapons were heavy, its shields thick. Jiho's heart raced. That ship is the leader's, Hana warned. We have to stop it, Jiho said. The Beastwoman nodded. Jiho moved the silver echo closer to the battleship. The ship's shields flashed as the leader fired. The battle was fierce. Jiho's weapons were not strong enough alone, but the Beastwoman had a plan. She pulled a glowing stone from her belt. It shone with bright blue light. She threw it toward the enemy ship. The stone exploded into a wave of energy. It pierced the battleship's shields. The ship shook and slowed. Jiho seized the chance. He fired a powerful plasma blast. The battleship broke apart. The Vrak's fleet started to retreat. Jiho and the Beastwoman watched as the enemy disappeared into the dark space. They had won, but the victory was not without cost. The Beastwoman was weak, her energy stones dimmed, her breathing was heavy. Jiho rushed to her side. What is wrong? She looked at him with tired eyes. The stones, they are my life. Using them weakens me. Jiho felt a sharp pain in his chest. I will help you, he said firmly. Days passed. Jiho cared for the Beastwoman. He worked to find a way to save her. He studied the stones, the energy, the old technology she brought. He reached out through his ship's communication system to distant allies, hoping for answers. One night, the Beastwoman spoke again, her voice soft and clear. You saved me, she said. Jiho smiled. You saved me too. They looked at the stars together. Then, a new message arrived. A signal from the Kiro homeworld. It was faint but real. Hope. Jiho and the Beastwoman prepared the Silver Echo for a new journey. A journey to the past, to the future, to save her people. Before leaving, the Beastwoman placed a claw on Jiho's hand. Thank you, friend, she said. Jiho nodded. We fight together. The ship lifted off. Stars stretched before them. A new chapter began. Together,